Atlanta, Georgia, 2 weeks ahead of the Senate runoff elections.
Who are you voting for?
Ossoff, Warnock, 2020.
Warnock.
Warnock.
And Ossoff.
Warnock.
And Ossoff.
And Ossoff, yeah.
Okay.
I hope Ossoff and Warnock both win.
Does the fate of the nation hang in the balance?
Man, you know.
Tell me.
Listen, the nation had already been in trouble when the Europeans came over. Their foundation in this country is on quicksand. Think about it. Came over the wrong way, right? Got in here the wrong way. Still never cleaned that up.
There is a wicked witch watching us from her crystal globe. Her name is Nancy Pelosi. She's officially the U.S. Speaker of the House of Representatives. Does she speak for you? She doesn't speak for me. None of these representatives or senators speak for me.
She feeds us. Remember you see that clip? She feeds us.
Begging for food, begging for money. Madam Speaker, thank you so much.
Have you fed them? We feed them.
But she doesn't feed me. I'm out here starving, but you know what? I'll beg people on the streets for a meal every day, and I'll use all the unemployment money they give me to print my political pamphlets and spread my message because I believe in a communist revolution.
A lot of stuff that I'm sure the majority of the country wants through Biden, it might not happen if we don't get the Senate.
Legislation that affects black people and brown people, like a lot of it won't get passed if we don't have a majority of the Senate, or at least a tied Senate.
What's like number 1 and 2 on your list?
Student loan cancellation and reparations and legalization of marijuana.
How I've been trying to market it to my friends is that this election is marijuana legalization. Marijuana has passed the House, is never going to pass the Senate, but with like an Ossoff and Warnock, you have a very, very good chance of that.
I would say more women's rights. I think the whole Roe v. Wade thing has been a hot topic right now, so if Democrats get the Senate, then I don't think that would be an issue anymore. Losing Ruth was like the worst thing, and then bringing in the, what's her name? The woman who is against women's rights.
LGBTQ rights, women's rights, like birth control, abortion, all of that stuff.
Like not abolishing abortion or like continuing to divide the country racially.
I remember the riots in Cleveland. I remember the Black Panthers. You know, I watched that shit. I watched it. Here we are again.
I care about the advancement of culture. 20 to 35 is probably the most important demographic. So whatever candidate would do the most to put that demographic in a position to be active, facilitate their security and leisure, and then give them alleys in which to frolic, create, etc., would be who I would vote for. So it might be Perdue accidentally.
Do you really think Biden will pursue some form of reparations?
I think he will, because I'm gonna have my foot on his neck until he does. So yeah, you have to recognize that he's definitely a moderate in a lot of spaces, and he hasn't even taken office officially yet. But once he does, there's a lot of organizations currently working on elections or just working in communities and neighborhood spaces who are going to hold him accountable.
I think he's a good dude. I wish he were a little bit more progressive, but that's a lot to ask. Biden might trickle us down a few more breadcrumbs, but he's gonna bomb the Middle East. All this wealth we have in America comes at a price, and it comes at the oppression of other nations. The Democrats care more about corporations, and the Republicans care more about nationalism. Both are evil. There's two wings of the fascist bird.
Do you guys think capitalism is working in America? Like, your life seems like it's pretty good to me.
Yeah, I mean,
watching you walk down the street.
yeah, I mean, I don't know.
I wouldn't say for us, because neither of us work, but for our parents, yeah.
Yeah. For, the rich, yeah, totally, but not everybody.
With the coronavirus, and to see how the top 1% are living very easily right now, and how the majority of America is really struggling. It just kind of shows how flawed our economic system is.
It's really all about caring for other people at the end of the day.
That's why this election is so important.
Yeah.
I think capitalism works in all parts of the world until humanity evolves into a place where they realize that we get up and we work and we go after jobs and we go after positions because that's our duty as a human and to serve the planet. But until humans evolve at that level, I think capitalism is a good motivator to get a great many of us up and working.
The message from Perdue and Loeffler is that Warnock and Ossoff are going to usher in socialism.
We've been pushing for socialism for years and it hasn't happened yet. So these two people aren't going to be what makes it happen, but they know by using very simple talking points with not more than 2 or 3 syllables, it's very receptive to poor white people who live in the South.
Why do you think Trump is so popular?
I guess half of our country believes what he believes in.
We love egos. We love drama. We love problems. We love anybody we can blame. We love anybody that is making noise. That's just part of our human characteristics. There's something about stirring up problems and getting people enraged and getting people frustrated. And it's just a good, beautiful distraction from people taking on their own power and finding solutions. Donald Trump has become like a scapegoat for all of everybody's problems. He's been a good scapegoat. He's played the role very well.
It's kind of a phenomenon. I know he's big with uneducated white folks. I don't know, it's almost more of a social thing in small, like, rural communities, as far as if you don't vote for him, you're a lib or whatever. I don't fully understand it, to be honest, but his fan base is die hard in a way that you don't see often, and it's hard to explain, for sure.
Obama, I think the fact that it was like an African American man in power, I think it kind of sparked a lot of deep-rooted like hate within our country.
Yeah.
And I think it's become very like prevalent. It just kind of shows that our country was never really as forward and progressive as we thought it was.
It was a drastic change.
It was the popularity.
Yeah.
I don't get it, honestly, but things like that happen. Nationalism is kind of dangerous. We've seen that happen in Germany in the 1930s. I'm from Israel, I'm also Jewish, so you know, it kind of hits home to see things like that. It's not the same thing happening over again, but I think it's something that we do need to be aware of and make sure history doesn't repeat itself.
He's just got the charisma of a TV personality that made it to be president, kind of like Ronald Reagan did. He's an offensive mouth, too. You know, he, right or wrong, he speaks his mind, and I kind of admire him about that, even though I don't agree on a lot of his policies and things he's doing, you know, especially, you know, immigration.
Yeah, fuck that shit. Yeah, I disagree with that, but it's okay. We have different opinions.
We do.